Welcome into the winter finals, the full finals of the Corporate Esports 2025 circuit. My name is Beowulf. We got Firebird right over there. And this one, Firebird, it is the first and second place teams. They're running into each other. However, the winner has already been decided. Not for these games, but for who gets the lion's share of the prize pool because, well, you know, one team's from the collegiate side, one team is from the corporate side, and, well, collegiate doesn't really have prize pool, so Amazon Alexa 12 pool, they took first place. They put $567 into their charity of choice, but we still get to figure out who is gonna be the winner here overall, who gets bragging rights, all that fun stuff.
I mean, I think arguably the most important prize of all is being able to say that you won and beat the other team. So charity, obviously, a great cause, but for Alexa 12 pool and Michigan RTS, they're still, as I said, fighting there for the chance here to get the one up on their opponents. And as you said, the collegiate teams, they don't have a prize pool, so none of the collegiate teams that are registered, because there's no registration fee, actually get any prize money donated to a charity. So we actually even have the first, second, I think third place as well already. Those donations have been done. I said Alexa 12 pool there with the first place prize. The second place prize was going to Google Alpha Stars, and the third place to Amadeus Adadobus.
A database.
A database.
A database.
Yes.
I'm so, you know what, look, I'm sorry you're not in the finals at database, but I am actually a little happy that they're not, because that is a trap. That is a caster trap waiting to happen. They're like, look guys, we don't want them to have a good time. Like, it was bad enough when you had Shopify not Spotify a couple years ago, and that was just, oh dude, that was bad. The amount of times that we got that wrong was just, they hated me. They hated me so much. I don't know why, but they did. It was a time.
It's the team names that are just like so close to tripping you up that really just make our lives so much harder. So, you know, congrats on third place. We are glad you're not here, so we don't have to say that every single game.
Wow, that's harsh, man. I don't know what to say about that one. By the way, of course, with the format here for the CEA, you have 2 separate maps possible for every single map in this best of 7. There are no swaps. It's what was decided at the start of the week. So we're gonna load into Selaginella, however you say that's a toxic sludge heap apparently. For map number 1, which is not a map that I am super familiar with, but that is the fun of the CEA. Not just, you know, it's for charity and it's a chance to play a lot of StarCraft. You also get to see some maps that you are not super familiar with. We're gonna get to explore this one right now.
In the bottom right-hand corner of Selaginella, we have from Alexa 12 pool, he's your blue Zerg, Jon Snow.
And in the upper left, the middle left, maybe, in the red, he is the red Protoss player from Michigan RTS. It's Fish. Now, tell me, Firebird, are you a Fish fan?
You know, Fish, it's something where early on, I think when I was younger, I did not appreciate it. But growing up here in the Northeast, as I've gotten older, I've really gained an appreciation for Fish. Were we talking about food or the player?
You know, the crackers.
Oh, the crackers. Yeah, big fan.
Or, you know, the McDonald's food. The fillet of fish, as it were.
Yeah, not as much of a fan of that.
Oh man, I was up in Maine for working at a summer camp not even a couple years ago, well, 7 or 8 years ago at this point. And I thought it was, I didn't know whether to be impressed or offended that they had $7 lobster rolls on the menu that summer I was there. Which,
whoa.
Granted, it was like $3 cheap, but you could get a lobster roll for like 10, 12 bucks at the time.
The past.
Yeah, you know, but you would go there and I'm like, should I be offended that there's a lobster roll at McDonald's, or should I be kind of impressed that they're able to make this happen? I don't know, but I was a little saddened, you know, like,
yeah.
I don't know that I was so tempted because like, how bad could it be, right?
That's a risky statement to make, I will say. Yeah, I'm kind of glad they don't do that anymore. So I don't have to experience that. Um, it's, God, I remember the days when lobster rolls were cheap like that. Not anymore. No, I think it's like 20 something dollars now. It's great.
I am so very sad. By the way, kind of cool here. We have Fish going, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to spin up this warp gate for a little bit, then I'm going to cancel it. Maybe on this idea that Jon Snow is just looking at that 220 odd timing to see if it's going or not. And it will be a Stargate behind this. So this is your standard, PvZ opening. I'm going to get oracles. There's going to be blink behind it. But there is an off chance that if Jon Snow wasn't paying attention in this 10-second window where he did see the warp gate start to spin up a little bit, maybe an off chance that he says, okay, this is a little bit more aggression. I got to respond to things a little bit differently.
Yeah. And Jon Snow, obviously, I mean, very, I think, experienced in a lot of these scenes, plays for Storm for a long time. So usually he's pretty good at keeping track of this stuff. He's a great macro player. And so already has, third hatch down, is playing this as standard as you can get. It's going to be that Void Ray, though, from Fish here, just to clear up the Overlords, not necessarily looking for the harass damage, but just trying to get a little bit of control for the vision and really make sure that there's no opportunities for Jon Snow here to push across the map with any sort of roaches early on.
You know what's kind of funny as well when we take a look at this map? So, how do we say that? Selaganella, there we go.
Yeah.
It has 2 entrances. Well, actually 3 entrances into the natural. You got the main entrance that has been walled off, and then you got these Zerg, whatever they're called, the debris, but these Zerg things that are slowly decaying because they're not on creep, which means that eventually these they're gonna go, and like the big creep tumors, whatever they are, eventually they're gonna break down, and eventually all of these avenues are gonna break, and you're gonna have a lot more attack paths, which can be annoying. The thing is, for the Zerg player, you just naturally get creep there, and because of how this works, creep is creep is creep. So these side areas, in fact, we can see Jon Snow spreading a creep tumor specifically to make this happen. They're not going to come down unless he wants them to go down, or unless a lot of damage is done to them, which is, kind of interesting in this game. Generally, a lot of these maps that do have these decaying whatever they are, they're a little bit more to the center of the map, so they're never going to get that creep that's going to make them survive, and does make life a little bit easier for Jon Snow, I think.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you're looking at the PvZ matchup. As a Protoss, you're trying to do this wall up at the front. You're like, oh, this is great. I got a nice, easy 3-building wall up on this map. And then, 8 minutes, 10 minutes rolls around, the debris drops, and you're like, well, crap. Now I have 2 extra entrances to my base that are going to make Ling run-bys even more annoying. And so it does put a lot of pressure on the Protoss, I think. And these kind of... one of the things I do like about these new maps is that they are experimenting with these features where it does maybe potentially favor the Zerg a little bit more, but it also means that the Zerg's not going to be really looking out for that debris attack. So if you're able to destroy those, sneak an attack through there as the Protoss, you can catch them off guard, but it does make the life very hard for Fish, and Fish here is going to be finishing up the Resonating Glaives, so has quite a few 6 gateways here that he's going to be trying to push out across the map with. Now, Jon Snow does already have that Roach Warren, and even has a Spire that's already halfway done. So unless Fish is able to really get a lot of damage here with these initial shades, if this is slowed down enough, I mean, these Mutalisks come out, and this becomes very, very difficult for him.
Yeah, it's all about the attack right now, but one Void Ray is going to go down right at the very beginning of things, which is very important to try to go take down some of these roaches as more of the Adepts are going to start to arrive. The front line is actually doing fairly nicely for Jon Snow, but now the Glaives are going to go forward into the natural, and this is where it starts to snowball a little bit. When the Adepts start to go and get past this fighting front line and start to get a little bit more damage done, we got to remember here, Firebird, this is all in coming out of Fish. Yes, there's a third base here. He's on 6 gate Glaives. He got himself 3 Void Rays. He has to get a lot of damage done to make this worthwhile.
Yeah, especially because there's going to be no answer to if there's a Muta follow-up. Phoenixes are in production, but so far the damage, I think, has been decent enough that he's actually slowing down Jon Snow quite a bit. Finally, the Pincer's going to come through here with the Roaches. The last of the Glaive Adepts will get cleaned up, but 14 drones killed actually means that Fish has an economic lead here with 46 probes on the other side of the map.
It's okay, is I think while we talk about it. It is okay. It has gotten enough damage to kind of stabilize this game for Fish, but you got to remember here that the tech is not good for for Fish. Yes, an Overlord is there. Yes, Phoenix are on the way. Jon Snow's not going to go and build himself a lot of mutas. He might get a couple corruptors or something to deal with these void rays, maybe a couple mutas, but the game state here, what we're going to see a lot of Zerg players do is they're just going to hit the roach button. They're going to walk queens across the map, and what exactly are you? You don't have blink, you don't have +1. There is no charge here. What exactly is a pro supposed to do to defend this third base?
Yeah, and you see kind of I think the downside of the preemptive Phoenix answer here from Fish, where now you're investing 450, 600 minerals here into 4 Phoenixes with no real, they're not countering anything. They're sitting back at home right now. They're not doing anything. There isn't a muta follow-up here from Jon Snow. And as you kind of pointed out, I think you read this correctly, just added a few more roaches, immediately started droning back up because there's no more aggression that can really come out of Fish at this point.
I'm actually really surprised he didn't just decide to run onto the other side of the map. Maybe the presence of the Void Rays has him scared enough, but his creep spread's really good. You could put a couple Overlords, drop some creep, and highway across, and on the queen count, he's got 8 queens. I think he would have been very, very justified in just off of he was on like 45 drones, just pumping the R button, building a lot of roaches, getting some links on the follow-up, and just trying to bust him down. But it's not like this is a bad answer, except now he is building these 9 mutas. And already Fish, he does have the 4 Phoenix that can easily turn into a couple more. He's going to be borne out in this decision to preemptively make these Phoenix. Because Jon Snow, again, I'm kind of surprised. Yes, he's getting flyer +1, but 16 mutas, it's a lot. It's more than 4 Phoenix can easily handle at first, but it is also kind of like this one idea that is going to cause Fish the least amount of problems.
And those Void Rays actually just see a muta popping out. So that's kind of disastrous for Jon Snow. You go for 16 mutas, you're trying to surprise the Protoss player, and one of them gets scouted. Fish immediately is back on that Phoenix production. So, as I said, it's not going to be easy to deal with. There's already 2 cannons in the mineral line here with shield batteries, actually. So, it's going to slow down the rate at which these mutas are able to deal damage as they knock down the first shield battery. But then the Phoenix are here, and yeah, they just managed to push them away, and that's 16 mutas for Jon Snow. And now Fish is fully prepared to keep his Phoenixes at home, and they haven't gotten any damage.
They're going to find themselves some zealots, which is always kind of nice, it's removing some map vision. But you're right, this is now a Protoss player on 4 bases. He's got himself 3 cannons at the 4th base. Did lose a shield battery, but that's fine. It's all about buying time. He's lost a grand total of 1 probe this game. And when you're playing this style, they will find the Void Ray. That is kind of nice. Taking these Void Rays down does remove some harass potential, does remove some counter roach potential, but even still, this is a 4-base Protoss that really has not been hindered by these mutas whatsoever. And yeah, Jon Snow's already adapting out of that. +2 melee is on the way, bailing speed just about done, pumping these lings. But we're at the point now where I guess the one thing you're lacking is Storm, sufficient splash damage to deal with this Ling Bane attack. But I mean, other than that, he's handled this very nicely.
Yeah, the mutas are going to try and sneak through here and find a little bit of damage on this little pocket 4th base that Jon Snow has put down. Those Stalkers are not long for the world, but the probes run away. The Phoenixes come over. Jon Snow will knock down the cannons, which is obviously very nice to get the cancel on that. But at this point, the Phoenix flock is large enough that with proper micro, Fish can handle it. But there's also an attack here that's actually rolling into the 3rd base as Banelings just come on in. The Warpins are right on top of them. The Archon's going to be able to survive, and actually 2 more Archons coming in to reinforce as Fish brings in the rest of his forces. He loses 11 probes, though.
Oh, that's not enough, man.
It's not enough.
Well, these Phoenix in the main base, they're not being microed properly. That is every single Phoenix dead. So, we said, look, the Banelings rolling in, only getting 11 workers. It's not enough. It was such a nice job there from Fish to get an Archon in the wall to prevent all these Banelings from running in. But now these mutas, blink is not done. It was never researched. It was all on the Phoenix to prevent the mutas from getting damage done. And the Phoenix counts at 2. It's been totally reset here. So while the damage itself was not enough, the probe damage was not enough, these mutas have no natural predators right now. Yes, 2 Phoenix are at a time, but they can dive in, they can get this economic damage done, they can take these pylons down. And as this game continues, I mean, look at the supplies, 188 to 115. Jon Snow getting ready for another big attack, this time with Ravagers to bust down some of the walls. And this is often how you win these games, Firebird. Even if your tech is bad, you just kind of sledgehammer and get enough damage done that your opponent, you just cannot build enough stuff.
Yeah, and it's just that one moment there, just one two-pronged attack. You have the attack at the front, you have the mutas taking advantage of that, where Fish is in microwave, Phoenixes all get wiped, and that's all that Jon Snow needs here to have an advantage. Now, once again, he's going to try and roll on in. He's actually just going to go straight for the natural. He realizes there's nothing there. Lings run by, Banelings are going for the third, and I mean, it's Stalkers and Archons. The Archons are great, but those Stalkers, they don't have Blink. They just get absolutely run over.
No Blink. They're not going to split well enough at all. And while this was theoretically a good solution from Fish, really this was kind of the one way that he would have a game in this game. Unfortunately, Jon Snow, his multitasking just catches the Phoenix off guard, gets enough economic damage and takes the base down. And even if these Phoenix eventually get all the mutas, which they won't, by the way, we're at the point where it's 46 supply to 174, and Jon Snow puts a point on the board for Alexa 12 pool.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, a little, I'll say, fishy there for a second for Jon Snow. We weren't quite sure, I think, how that transition would work out, and Fish had a great response, but Jon Snow, as you said, the multitasking there just shows that all you need is one good attack, one moment where your opponent isn't paying attention, because that Phoenix micro is so important in that battle. You know, you're not going to have as many Phoenixes as he has mutas. That's 16 mutas. And so the fact that Fish, didn't have his army at his third base. I don't actually know where his army was positioned. I think it was by his natural, and had to walk them over, has to pay attention there. And then all those Phoenix, they get jumped. And as soon as that Phoenix count is reset, that game becomes almost impossible.
Yeah, I'm almost a little surprised that we saw, not really, because second Stargate is good. Having a lot of Phoenix is good. But I'm always a little surprised that we just didn't see the fleet beacon go down, you know, get Annie and Pulse Crystal. You don't even have to micro at that point. Any, like 5 Phoenix beats any number of mutas. There really is no way. It's a little slower, you know, you don't have as much flexibility. But given the forewarning that he had, I was, especially when he saw those mutas popping, I'm just a little surprised he didn't decide to do that one, because, you know, that's a good answer. And also, look, you're playing against Jon Snow. You're playing against this former professional player, this guy that does still play at a very, very high level. Make life easy on yourself. You know, don't try to win the Muta versus Phoenix battle where you don't have any advantage. Just get anti-pulse crystals, run them, just click them in circles. The Mutas can't do anything. You know, just wipe that off the map.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, I think it was the transition there for Fish was kind of hindered again by the opening. Even though he did get enough damage to kind of even out the game state and put him in an okay spot, he just didn't really have the resources to index into, hey, do I decide to go for Archons and Stalkers? Oh, but I need Blink. Oh, but I don't have Storm. And then, oh, I also need to get Annie and Pulse Crystal. And so I think he was spreading himself a little thin there with his options.
Yeah, just making life a little bit too difficult. But, you know, we're going to get into game 2 pretty soon here. It's going to be 9K playing for Alexa 12 pool. Xingming for Michigan RTS in, well, it's not going to PVZ anymore, Mr. Firebird. It's going to be a PVT as 9K looking to make it 2. Xingming looking to go and tie us up in this best of 7 for first place in the CEA Fall Finals. Going to get right into it.
And in the top right-hand corner here of Ley Lines, it's going to be your Purple Protoss playing for Alexa 12 pool. He is 9K.
And the bottom left in the red for Michigan RTS, trying to go tie the series up at 1 apiece. It's Xingming. Like the JSL tag. That's a fun little, is that a Protoss bird?
It looks like, yeah, some sort of a, I'm not really that good with my bird facts, unfortunately.
You know, you'd think with a name called Firebird, we get something there.
God, I'm sorry.
But, but here's my question. Would you pass the bird test?
What's the bird test?
You know, it's like this thing I've seen going on social media a little bit where, you know, you're in a relationship, right? And the girl goes to the guy, she's like, hey, I saw a bird. And he's like, and if he's like, oh, what kind of bird? You know, I'm interested in what you have to say. You pass the bird test. But he's like, yeah, very nice. Okay, whatever. I don't care. You don't pass the bird test.
Unfortunately, I guess fortunately I would, I think, pass the bird test. I do love birds. I do love birds. I can't identify this one off the top, this Protoss looking falcon-ish. I think it's a falcon. Maybe. But do you pass the bird test, Mayo? Are you interested in the type of birds that your girlfriend sees?
Oh, shut up, Firebird. I don't care. Can you stop talking? This is my show.
I'm sorry. We got important things to talk about, like lobster rolls at McDonald's.
Yeah, you know, fillet of fish, Xing Ming's birds. And whether we get a tie-up here is, this is a rather, is this going to be a suspicious probe, Firebird? It's just going to be for the rescout. Okay, you know what? I get excited sometimes. This is why I love the CEA, is, although we're not seeing it this game, you got a week to prepare for one map. One best of one. You know your opponent ahead of time. It's a great opportunity to throw some madness at the wall. And we see a lot of it, but not this game. This is going to be the rescout. Got a reasonable macro game here, although we are reactoring out Reapers, so bit of an aggression coming out of 9K in this game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. You're going to have 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions. The classic harass force here for Terran, which loves to just go in and try and clean up some probes. Shield battery's already there in the natural for Xing Ming, but won't stop the DPS there, actually, from the Reapers if you line up the Hellion shots. But, yeah, you know, that's the one thing about the CEA that I think is really exciting as well, is you're coming into here, and I at least come in, and I always expect you're not going to see necessarily, you know, perfect macro games, but you might see some creative builds here because you have so much research as well on the back of this. I mean, you have 6 rounds of regular play, you have 2 rounds of playoffs that you can look at and kind of see what your opponents did. Is Reapers in the... Well, first Hellion goes down, and that makes this a lot harder here for the Reapers.
Yeah, actually, second one's going to go down as well, and you just don't have the one-tap potential anymore with the shield battery already in the main base. Oh, almost gets the trap with the pylon. Not quite going to happen. But with the shield batteries in the main of the natural, one might argue that is too defensive, that you are not cutting enough corners to win a game of StarCraft 2, but it has worked out for him very well. In this game number 2, all the Reapers save 1 die, the Hellions all fall, and that was step 1 of a pretty aggressive opening, right? This is Reaper Hellion, sure, fine, but it's a second and third racks before a starport. Stim combat shields on the way right around 415 or so. He wants to run across the map with a couple tanks and a lot of stimmed bio. And to do that, you want to get some damage done ahead of time. You want to go and put the Protoss player on the back foot, and, well, Xing Ming, he's got heals, he's on his heels, but that's just because he's standing flat-footed and very happy with how this game is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you take no damage there, that opening, it's an investment. I mean, it's still, you know, you're spending about 300 minerals, 150 gas, so it is very unfortunate there for 9K that you don't find any damage. He does have this aggressive follow-up, which hasn't been scouted just yet, but there's an observer that's slowly just floating his way across the map. They're going to eventually see those tanks getting ready. But Xing Ming already has Blink, so he can do the Protoss thing here where you walk your Stalkers across the map as the opponent's trying to move out and just pick off some units with Blink Stalkers. Charge is also on the way, but it's going to be a while until that's finished up, and 9K is already moving out here with his first 3 tanks.
This was scattered out, though, as the SCVs are going to get pulled out as well. So Stalkers, you talked about it. They're moving forward, a couple more gateways on the way. But this army from 9K, it's already gotten most of the way onto the other side of the map before really it's been dealt with. So Marines are getting taken down, scanned on the high ground just to get a little bit more vision going. A couple Marines are dead. Stim's ready in just about 10 seconds, but the bunkers are going to get started right now. And it's not the easiest thing to deal with. This front one should be fine. That should get canceled. But this back one, covered just a little bit better, and if we take a look at this tank range, Stalkers, they're gonna have to be careful. Running forward into these 3 tanks, you're just getting one shot.
Yeah, but I mean, you have actually no chrono boost there on the Zealot charge. Xing Ming's actually running a few Stalkers across the map, and there's not really anything back home here. These Marines are gonna get taken out, and, well, if 9K wasn't already all in, then he is even more now. That third base is finally going to go down, but 9K will need to do even more than that because he's had to retreat all of his SCVs out of his natural base. And now it's kind of a stalemate here. It's 9K, how quickly can you creep this tank line up? And Shingman, can you actually get that much damage here at the back? But Stim's going to come out. Marauders there will push the Stalkers away, but they can still just be annoying here and really kind of spread 9K very thin.
Yeah, not before Charge is done. That's your real answer. Charge is complete now. We're sitting on 6 gateways. Xingming could have run into an issue where he was going to get supply blocked, losing the Nexus, losing the pylons, but he's got plenty enough of that one. And with 13 SCVs dying from this harassment onto the other side, the SCVs were pulled. It's now or never for 9K. He's got to get this ready to go, and the Zealots get on top of the Marines immediately. They evaporate them. And this all in from 9K is not going to work whatsoever. So Xingming strikes back. It's now a best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we got tied up, and that's what you like to see. The last time these two teams played, they played once in the round robin. Did actually go 2-2. They ended up tying. They didn't go to the ace match because there were no ace matches there in that regular season. So we're getting to see why. Some traded blows here. Xingming, I think, handled that about as well as you can. I mean, you don't take any damage from the early harass. You scout out the tank push, and I was a little skeptical of the sending half of his Stalkers across the map, but I think that 9K was playing it safe enough with his push. You know, he didn't really try and force the issue quick enough, and so you're just allowed to walk those Stalkers across the map, and you have charge up by the time he realizes he needs to actually win the game there.
Yeah, I love, by the way, is we got everyone in the lot or in the chat channel here, so you can see what people are doing. And Jon Snow, immediately after his game, he queues up a ranked game, just, I guess, keeping himself warm. I don't know what that is. But you got to assume he's going to be needed for some ace matches later on if it gets there. As now we're sitting here tied up 1 apiece. Map 3 will be Incorporeal Firebird, which is it's a map. Good time, decently sized map. I don't know if you have any thoughts about Incorporeal.
I will say, hey, we can pronounce it. So that's always a plus.
Very important. It's very important.
I always appreciate when a map is pronounceable. But yeah, I mean, we actually see, I think, surprisingly, some pretty regular builds coming out. Like, there's been some aggression. We saw there that 2 base all in there from 9K. But overall, it's actually the macro players that have just been coming out on top. Jon Snow in the first game was just absorb the pressure, played macro. In this game, Xingming absorb the pressure, is playing macro. So going on to a larger map, or I wonder if we're going to see a bit, if someone's just going to go crazy. Are we going to see some cheese, or are both players just going to kind of handshake and be like, all right, hey, listen, this isn't really working out for either of us. Let's just play a regular game.
Yeah, although as we say that, this is going to be a ZVZ coming up, Firebird. So, everything we talked about, Incorporeal, you got this central Zelnaga tower that it dominates the center of things. It can be very useful in the late game. It can be kind of awkward in this PvZ matchup in particular because it's hard for the Zerg to address those center bases. They get sieged down in the late game and yada, yada, yada. It's a ZVZ. That doesn't matter. The chances that we get to some super late game Viper Lurker, which is really is my favorite style of ZVZ, the chances that we get there, Firebird, less than 5%.
I think that's optimistic. Well, yeah, I mean, it's with ZVZ, yeah, you're not caring about controlling vision, because if you're just faster than your opponent, you don't need vision. Just get across the map and attack them before they can react. So yeah, I'm excited. This should be bloody, I think, coming into this, and we'll see what the players have prepared with those openings, because obviously, I mean, a lot of the ZVZ, especially on a map like this, is going to come down to that matchup there in the opening builds.
Apparently. Okay, so a little bit of confusion there. Our monkey business, our elected 12 pool player, was submitted, is apparently a random player, but was submitted as Zerg, so he will be playing Zerg, and we just got to make sure that's happening. I am what you need to be, Captain, he says, as he is ready to go. Okay, we talked about ZVZ and how it can be cheesy and aggressive and all of these things, or, can develop to roach knot, whatever. My estimation of how this matchup was going to go is even more strongly in the cheese category now, because this is a random player playing Zerg. And, Titan, I don't know a random player. I've run into some on ladder. It's never the Zerg players. But yeah, sometimes you run into a random player that is an honorable macro player. But that is the like very slim minority. Like if you're playing ZVZ and you're a random player, you're 13-12. You know, you're 14, 13, 12, you're 12, whatever it is. Like you are, let me let them know that we're ready to go. You're running lings into their face and hoping they fail the ANS check.
I mean, yeah, it's the random player MO. It's you lock in random, you don't tell your race at the beginning of the game, and then you cheese them before they have time to scout. So, yeah, we'll see. I think Monkey Business, sorry. We'll probably be looking to end this a little early. We'll see. And, you know, it's also because random players, you know, macro, usually they're not the best at it. Just gonna say that.
That's mean. Anyway, we're going to go into game number 3 here, tied up at 1 apiece.
And in the top left-hand corner here in the blue, playing for Alexa 12 pool, it's going to be Monkey Business.
With that hatch canceled to 15. Now, bottom right in the red, going actually for the cheese. It's not his opponent, crazily enough, at least not initially. He is for the University of Michigan. It's Luz Theron.
And I understand that the name is probably supposed to be Monkey Business, but I think it is funnier if we pronounce it Minky Business.
Monkey.
Monkey. Yes. Monkey.
Well, you know, you should have a little bit of a, I don't know, kinship Titan with the player on the bottom right side of the map because, well, you know, Luz Theron's the dragon. And a Firebird, a Phoenix, a dragon. They're both mythical creatures. You know, it should work out. By the way, this was a 12 pool. This was a gasless 12 pool. There is no natural here. Luz Theron just wants to run a bunch of lings on the other side of the map and catch his opponent off guard, which is possible. But because this was a 15-15, the natural's going to be down a little bit. Oh, he's pulling the drones. I love to hate this. But, you know, I was going to talk about how the natural's down a little bit faster. The pool's down a little bit faster. You're not going to have a lot of time to go, and he's not going to see this, by the way. The Overlord path is wrong, but you're not going to be able to go fight into a building hatchery, which is 0 armor, which it makes life a little bit easier, but you just got to hope here he's holding the larva, which he hasn't by the... Oh, no.
Oh, no.
He hasn't held the larva. 2 drones. He's dead. This game's over, man. There's nothing here. You're building queens. He's canceling one of them, trying to get some spines on the way maybe, but it is way too late.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Monkey Business here. You were the random player and we doubted you, but actually you're the one getting cheesed as... Yeah, Luz Theron here. I don't think there's a world here where you recover here. There's a queen on the way. The links pop out and... I mean, the drone pull, you got to fight this before the spines are up. That's at least true. As the queen comes out, the drones are trying to fight. It just comes down to who takes this fight better, as the drones are actually doing so much damage here for Monkey Business, but the spines are going to get up. And now this becomes really difficult.
Yeah, it does. So you're going to put the lings on the natural, get it down pretty low as the spines are going to start to burrow forward.
Oh, no.
But remember, it's 3 spines to 1. So even with the spine here, the queen doesn't have enough energy for transfuse, but they're going to try to go on top of this as some spines are not burrowed.
Gone.
Do they have the damage for this to take this down? One is going to go down. Second one getting a little low here. And it's all about this fight.
Oh, my God. He's going to hold it?
I thought there was no chance. I thought there was 0 chance that would happen, but the drone micro, the ling micro, buying enough time, and Monkey Business takes the win. He goes up 2 games to 1 for the side of Alexa 12 pool.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think for Luz Theron there, having all 3 unburrowed at the same time was just a big issue. You have all 3 that are burrowing, and that's when Monkey Business decides to just go for it. He says, all right, I got to pull the trigger now. They're not firing. I have a chance here while mine's still burrowing. Yeah, I'm actually shocked that he managed to win that. That was a really tough situation. He did not have lings out. He did not have the larva held, but I mean, micro the drones well, got the drone pull, And I think actually handled that really well. Pulls the drone initially, gets the first trade, retreats as soon as the spines finish, and then waits for them to move up before he goes in again.
Yeah, you really have to go and leapfrog them forward. It also comes down to the fact that he wiped pretty much everything at the very beginning. All the drones went down, all the lings went down from the side of Luz Theron. So then you're in this situation where like the spines are really strong, but without enough lings to buffer properly, you're in this situation where you can get the surround, you can make that happen. And yeah, I was convinced the game was over because we have seen enough of those games, we have been in enough of those games, but he did take a good enough fight before the spines were ready that he just whittled the defensive forces around the spines enough that the spines by themselves, they just don't attack fast enough.
Yeah. And you always underestimate how much damage drones can do. They actually do hit pretty hard there when you get the surround with them. So manages to clean it up, and we're going to be heading on to Spirit Crusher here as we have a 2-1 lead here coming out for Michigan, or sorry, for Alexa 12 pool.
Yeah, Spirit Crusher, actually a 2-player map that we're playing in a 1v1. It's got kind of these dual main scenarios, which is kind of cool. It gives you a free natural, which is always fun. It lets you go and play this map as a little bit more of a macro map. We're going to have to see how exactly that's going to work, because I don't know that we were ready to go. As you mentioned it, this is going to be a ZVT. Sparklelands and Sigil playing against each other. Sparklelands, of course, playing for Michigan. Sigil for Alexa 12 pool. I'm excited to see how this one works out. So this is a map that has 2 entrances into the main base. You got to be very careful of that as the Terran player. Your walls are very important. But on the flip side, a Terran player that can go CC first and get their macro going early, we're going to have to see how this is going to go. As for now, here we go, set the scores. We're going to go into game number 4.
Yeah, and spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner in purple. They're currently up 2-1 here in this finals from Alexa 12 pool. It's Sigil.
And I was lied to looking at this map. It's not actually a double main. Anyways, in the upper right, in the blue, down a map for Michigan, it's Sparklelands. So I was looking at this map. I'm like, yes, they said that these were the main bases. Looking at it, I'm like, yes, double main. There's another 2v2 map that kind of works very similar to this. Turns out that's not the case. It is bottom left, upper right, not bottom right, upper left. So everything we've said has been a lie.
I mean, really, I blame the map maker here, because those little emblems there on those bases do look like the spawn indicators. Awfully close to them when you're looking at it from the preview.
Yeah, I was looking at the map, I'm like, yeah, okay, they're just being fancy. It's a green marker instead of the blue marker, but whatever, And we have the secondary map. I'm like, okay, clearly these green ones are the main base. And clearly these orange ones are like, these are the secondary expands. Makes sense. And this is not a base at all, even if it looks like it should be a base. But no, we've been lied to. This assault on our intelligence has left us broken and scarred.
We'll never recover from this, truly. But on the flip side here, Sparklehands does have a pretty hefty task in front of him of, hey, your team's down 2-1. Obviously, you never want to be in a situation where you're going to be going down 3-1 here in a best of 7. So you are really, the onus is on you here as the Terran player to try and get a win here to tie it up 2-2 as we go into these ace matches. And so we'll have to see. It looks like both players here are going to kind of handshake this opening and say, hey, standard TVZ, standard TVZ.
No crazy all-ins. We're not going to pull the drones, although, that doesn't really happen in this matchup all that much. But for now, Reapers versus Lings, the score, a Ling might die. But, realistically, this is on the mid game. It's a very safe opening. Got to be careful, but there we go. The queen's out, so you're really not going to get that much more after this. There we go. Ideally, actually, this is kind of interesting. A bit of, I don't know if I want to call it a mistake, Titan, but interesting decisions is that Sigil injects both his main base and his natural with the first set of queen energy. which may
Yeah.
not sound like all that much, but it is so important in this matchup to get that first creep tumor forward and to get your natural and your third connected in creep so you can get it past it. Means you can go start to, that the defensive power is available, but also as the Hellions start to come out and as this harassment starts to build, if there's, say, Banshees or something that get made, being able to rotate your queens between all three bases is so very important.
Yeah, and you kind of see here now, yeah, that first creep tumor is going to come down, but it is very delayed, and it also does make, when these Hellions come out, you're just going to have less creep to really stop them from pushing in here, so it gives the Terran a lot more chances to just push in, prod, get a little bit of vision, get a little information, because you're not going to really have the creep spread out that much. You're going to connect it finally here between the third and the natural, but you're not going to have any tumors that are expanding it out here towards the potential fourth base. Another tumor is going to go down to start to push it up on the left side of the map here, but really these Hellions are going to have a pretty fun time just being able to kind of jump between these bases and see what's going on, as we do finally have something interesting going on here. There's a fusion core going down, but also there's a Ling that is so close to seeing it.
It's actually super valuable right now that he's taken down. Yeah, he's going to take down all three workers on one of the refineries and seize the fusion core.
There.
This is such an important scout. Not only is he delaying the gas mining of the Terran player significantly, which is so important when you go for these high-tech fusion core openings, he knows what's happening. So we're going to see spores and bases. More queens are on the way. Layers getting started. The timing where this is could be speed banshees, could be battle cruisers, whatever it is that he wants to go for. That timing became so much narrower.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if Sparkle Hands would just cancel it there, but I think he's already committed enough that he just wants to go for it. It's going to be the Roach Warren coming down here for Sigil. Yeah, there we go. He's going to get the Spore Crawlers up as well, and has a pretty decent queen count already. Sitting at 6 queens, will be going up to a 7th, and actually an 8th here, I think. No, just a 7th. So we'll have 7 queens up as well, which is going to be a decent amount here for when this battle cruiser does end up going across the map. And yeah, this is always a situation where it really comes down to like how solid does the Zerg play this out? How well do they respond? Do they just completely negate the damage because the Terran's just going forward with their game plan? And it's really just going to come down to, hey, Sigil, do you just respect this enough and stop it?
I think he is. I mean, look at this. We got Roach Speed on the way, no Evo Chamber. He's got Spire getting started. He's kind of pulled the queens back a little bit now that he's this defensive Roachling line. And we're going to see this single battle cruiser, and it's going to teleport in. It can go teleport like right on top of where the Hellions are going and turn into a fighting force. You can go and do something else, but we're going to see this battle cruiser teleport in. It's likely not going to get a lot of damage done. Hellions, I don't see a world where they get a ton of damage done either. We're already on a couple Roaches, plenty of Lings. So this big attack that is a lot of your opening that's supposed to get damage done should not get a lot of damage done. And then we're going to have 8 Corruptors, and we're going to have a bunch of Roaches, and we're going to have Queens. And it's just an attack onto the other side of the map that is going to be very difficult for Sparkle Hands to stop.
Yeah, actually Sparkle Hands has just flown the battle cruiser across. Is going to save that teleport to get the battle cruiser on out. And I mean, could maybe try and cancel Hadry with the Hellion DPS, but ends up going for the creep tumors as he has to micro the Hellions back and get some good shots there onto the Lings. But yeah, I mean, there's just plenty of queens here. So that battle cruiser has to back on up. And right now it will just be used to kind of contain Sigil for now. But that still doesn't solve the issue. As you kind of mentioned, there's going to be a lot of Roaches. There's still Corruptors that can be made. Really, this hasn't slowed the Zerg down at all. And Sigil's just kind of happily sitting here doing his thing and saying, well, I guess that happened, but I'm going to keep macroing up.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised we don't see the Corruptor answer. Not because Corruptors are this incredible unit, but 8 Corruptors just kill the battle cruiser, and then you just run across the map. You don't have to worry about it. You run across the map. He's going to have like he's got 3 tanks now. That's not a lot as the Hellions try to dive in elsewhere. They're not going to find a lot of value either, but you just go and you sledgehammer the third base, you take it down. You don't give them anything. Is generally how I see this go. For now, though, Hellions, they're going to get found out by the Roaches and Lings on the north side. They're dead. They have found 0 damage. And on the right side, Battlecruiser feels the need to teleport back home. It gets pretty low. They did get a queen. But it seems like for now, Sigil, his response, he's got that infestation pit done. Hive on the way. We're seeing a bunch of upgrades get started. And his decision is like, well, I could go and try to end the game and maybe I throw into a bunch of tanks in this rather choked out third base. Or I can go up to 5 bases, go up to a hive before 8 minutes, and just get a lot of really good tech and win with more money.
Yeah, I mean, you're already sitting at 87 drones here. 5th base is now up, so it's a position where any Zerg player is going to be very, very happy. Sparkle Hands is transitioning this into a mech follow-up, has Blue Flame here for his Hellions. They're working on the tanks, but I think notably here, these armories are only just now finishing up, so +1/+1 upgrades are going to be fairly delayed here, actually, for his tanks and his Hellions. The Hellions obviously aren't going to care quite as much about it, but especially for those tanks. And the battlecruiser will just be used to keep these roaches back. And we only just now are going to get these 3 corruptors here that are going to try and help to clean this up as another queen goes down. So, you know, it's a little bit of damage. It's at least providing some passive kind of pressure here for Sparkle Hands, but with these corruptors coming out, I imagine it's going to get cleaned up pretty quickly.
Yeah, the other downside to what Sigil is doing is that, well, you know, he's in this situation. Hellions are actually going to dive in, find themselves a couple of workers, call it 5, maybe a couple more, but they're all going to get taken down. Only 7 workers there. But the style that he's going for, only on 8 gas, which is 8 gas is a lot, to be clear. But with how much stuff you're getting, a lot of Ravagers, and you're moving for Broodlords, and you're getting all these upgrades. He's got all these minerals that he just can't spend. It's 2,000 minerals, 60 gas. Not really mining enough to support the tech that he wants to go for, and that is a little bit awkward. Now this attack's going to go in. There's a full wall. You can go use the miles to take that down, but we're at the point where you need Vipers. Broodlords seem to be where he wants to go, which I don't hate for now because the Thor's not ready, but yeah, like this is the problem with giving a mech player time to get up to 175 supply. You don't break this, not without any sort of tier 3 tech, which he has access to, but he's not bought yet.
Yeah, the other issue here is like, yeah, it's Roach Ravager now, and now it's at the point of the game where Roach Ravager does just kind of become dead supply. The tanks are going to start 2 and 3 shotting these Roaches and Ravagers, blowing them up. And even the Lynx here, you're getting adrenal glands for them, but they're going to also, I mean, if you're running into a wall, there's not really much they can do. So this tier 3 tech is needed, but Sparkle Hands is already working on Thors. You know, he does have 2 battle cruisers out on the map and can research Yamato Cannon if he really wants to. But he is getting up all the answers he needs, and even though the opening didn't really go like he wants, there was just no pressure put on him, as you said, and so he's been allowed to transition this into a pretty comfortable game state for any Terran player.
And now we get into the point of the game where I have trauma, Firebird. You know, Turtle Mech Terrans they just make me sad. There's the amount of games that I've lost where I'm like, I am doing everything. I have every base on the map. Look at my economy. And you just throw yourself at this wall and you cannot break it. The trades are bad. They get worse. And then you just start to cry. Which may be what's happening here for Sigil. We're going to have to see the 4th base. This is where mech gets really scary once you get up to 8 gas. If you can get up to 10 gas, you're really rolling. But you get up to 8 gas, you're slow about it. It's 12 minutes in. It's only just now getting his 4th base. But you know, we're the situation. Infestors are going to get made to deal with the run-bys, I guess, to deal with the Thors as well. Eventually, you're going to go and get Neural, but 3 Broodlords do not break this. There are as many Thors as Broodlords. This is just not a thing, Titan.
Yeah, this push here, I think, is very ill-fated here for Sigil, and you can try and trade out some supply at least to replace these Roaches and Ravagers, but the Thors are going to walk forward, and you already almost lose one of those Broodlords. So yeah, it's just not a very good position. I was kind of surprised. I was thinking that this might have been a really good spot for Sigil to go even Swarm Hosts with seeing the amount of tanks. Oh no, the Broodlords! That's the one thing you gotta keep alive!
Well, you gotta lose them because Broodlords are awful units and they are dead supply. They are just not worth having. Broodlords are just not good units. You're going to lose a couple of them. You know, you are forced to teleport back home on the battle cruises a little bit, but this Zerg player, Sigil had every opportunity. That at first attack got nothing done. And I don't think he's playing fast enough. I think this is very much a game where he had every opportunity to end this game before 10 minutes. To run straight through, to build those 8 corruptors and just kind of Roach Ravager, Ling Queen, bust the 3rd, never let the Terran player get the 3rd base up, but now he's on 4 bases. The planetary is ready to go. Upgrades are starting to churn out. There's gonna be another command center eventually. The 5th base is gonna rotate over, and the life becomes very, especially on a map like Spirit Crusher, where there are not a lot of good run by avenues. Becomes very difficult to get the damage you want to find. But for now, everything is on the 4th base. So they will find the 3rd base here. The Broodlord's getting on top of this orbital, but the Corruptor Key is not going to do that much. As now you got to run. The tank's not going to go down for the time being. Bit of miss micro, a couple Roaches, Ravagers, they will fall down. And you know, we can see also the problem. We Broodlord Roach Ravager on 91 drones here, Titan.
Oh,
your army is not that big.
Yep, and loses a few more there to just miss micro again on the rallies. And I don't even get the 3rd base. 3rd base doesn't even go down. I just said the Corruptor, Corrosive, or Spit there does not do enough damage. And now you have a mass of 13 tanks here with 5 Thors. It's just, there were so many opportunities for Sigil, even if it wasn't the Corruptor Roach Ravager bust, as Banelings are now here to try and go into Thors, which I guess is an option. There is a good surround, though, as also, the flanking Infestors are going to get themselves some Neural Parasites, and Sigil does take advantage of Sparkle Hands here, just pushing out with unsieged tanks into the middle of the map.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is an army that defensively, the Zerg player's not going to break it, but if you run across the map into a full surround under vision, yeah, you absolutely can win that one. And now this is a massive opportunity. This 5th base is not going to be allowed to land. Can you break the 4th? Maybe not. We'll see, depending on how the miles are. And they're taking down these tanks very nicely, getting on top of the Hellbats as well. The planetary continues to be a problem, and breaking the planetary with this relatively small Zerg army, not the easiest, but you reset the Terran's tech pretty significantly. You deny this 5th base, and you're very happy. If you look at resources lost. Titan. Oh no, we're gonna see more of these infests go down, and
there's just nothing here.
Nothing here. Yeah, the Thors are gonna be used to crack the planetary. Baneling combusting it as well, and you know, we talked about how resources lost. It was very bad trades for the Zerg up until this point. The Zerg's up 3,000 resources in this Zerg versus Mech game. The Zerg is trading significantly better,
and it just takes one mistake there. I mean, Sparkle Hands, you're trading so well defensively, but then you're just pushing onto creep with tanks and Thors, not even sieging them up. Nothing, no Raven to get vision. And it's just, yeah, a weird position to go into. A great EMP there, actually, on the Infestors. And I don't like Sigil going in here, but he's got enough money that he can replace his army. I don't like continuing to run in here with all the lanes, cleaning up a few tanks. I don't think he's even going to get that last tank. Oh, okay. Fadeaway Bile there isn't going to clear it up, but I'm not sure. But the Broodlord count has been replenished.
I kind of like that a little bit. It's Lings and Roaches to take down tanks, to kind of keep this Terran player down. If there was Larva, I would love it. But we're looking at 4 Queens. They're not really, he's kind of been a little bit lapsed in his injects, unfortunately. So he has all this money. He has been able to remax, but his Larva count was very small for a while and not quite able to remax in the way that he would have liked. So maybe a bit of a missed opportunity there, as we see all of these Infestors. Not a lot of neural energy for the time being, but the economy, that's the big deal, Titan. It continues to develop. We got another base here. We're looking at, what's the 7 bases, 8, 9, 10 for the Zerg. So you win that one fight, you just take over the entire map.
Yeah, no, it really was just gave Sigil the freedom here to do what he wants. 5 hatcheries on the way, is even starting to take the bases on the Terran side of the map. Just says, yeah, I'll just take those as Ghost. Cloaked Ghost here is going to go around on the left. I don't know if there is a nuke that has been prepared, so nuclear strikes are going to start to go down as these Broodlords are just poking around, not quite going to go in. I don't know if Sigil has seen this nuke just yet. Yeah, those drones aren't going to get moved, so starting to get some value here. 15 drones go down. It's good, but again, there are a whole bunch of hatcheries already on the map, so I don't think Sigil's going to have any trouble replenishing that.
No, only 2, yes, the 2 Queens as well, which is actually even more valuable at this point, considering the mineral bank. Being able to go replenish things is so important. As now, you take a look at the snipes are decent, but you should just be able to turn. There's one Thor. This is absolutely something where you can turn around with these Broodlords. Thors are scary against the Broodlords, but they're not that scary. So Broodlords take down everything on the right side. Meanwhile, left side, we do see the anti-armor missile, but this is not 2015 Titan. This is not them going and destroying everything. Nice and fast on the left side. And actually, looks like the Terran player is handling this attack on the left side okay. But then you look at the money and you realize he's less than 1,000 minerals in the bank, less than 200 gas in the bank. He's lost 38 SCVs and this base on the north side. And oh, by the way, the Broodlords, they're still having a great time. They're killing more SCVs. They're forcing repair money that Sparkle Hands doesn't have. And I think at this point, it's kind of the beginning of the end. Yeah, the Zerg lost an army, but they don't care.
No, I mean, it's so easy to replenish this. You see the immediate remax here from Sigil. And Sparkle Hands is going to try and start to push down these bases, but it's just a swarm of lings that have been built, and there's not enough Hellbats in the world here for Sparkle Hands to clean this up, as that's going to be the GG. Sigil takes it, and that's going to be a 3-1 scoreline here for Alexa 12 Pool.
That it will be. So, bit of a missed opportunity, I think, in the early game. I think you very much could have gone and just won the game when the battlecruiser stuff was scattered, didn't really get a lot of damage, but Sigil had a lot of confidence in how he wanted to play that game, a lot of confidence in his mid to late game, was able to get that one really good fight that just totally reset the Terran tech. And from that point, you take bases, you expand everywhere, you deny the 5th base, the Terran player runs out of gas, and that's how you beat Mech.
Yeah, I don't know if you see that army value graph, Bayo, but it is brutal to see that one push at 14 minutes just... And again, that's really is like when you're playing Mech, when you're playing this turtle style, one mistake is really all it takes. Like if you mess up there, if you're pushing out, if you lose so many high value units, you're just gonna end up losing control of the game. And Sigil did a good job from there of transitioning it into a very confident victory.
That it was. So now we're moving into the ace matches, which things change a little bit. So now instead of it being a defined match, this defined match of everyone knows what's happening. Sure, we had a week to prepare. Now there are no map swaps. Now the maps are the maps. And right now is when we found out what the aces are going to be. So Alexa wins this. They win the entire season. Congratulations to them. That doesn't happen. We go to another ace match and maybe one more. As our aces have been revealed, it's going to be Monkey Business, Jay, playing against Xing Ming. So Monkey Business right now has, he's got Terran selected. I don't know if that's still going to be the case. He might have gone and decided to play Zerg, but more importantly, Titan, he's sitting here in the lobby. He said, 1 second, look, I need to cue my epic music up to be able to beat Xing Ming. I gotta get ready for this one.
Yeah, the random player here is like, all right, it's my time to shine here. I gotta try and get this done here. I mean, I think it's a smart decision here from Alexa 12 Pool. Obviously, you want to save someone like Jon Snow for if you really do need him there, getting like down here in the ace matches. So they throw out Monkey Business, who had a very good hold there in that ZVZ, was able to to win that game, and so he'll be going up against Xing Ming, who also had a very, very convincing victory. Is the thing when you look at that, like Xing Ming, how he handled that Terran push, and overall how he just maneuvered that game, looked really solid.
Yeah, more importantly, Jon Snow's not available right now because he's in a ranked game again. You gotta stay warm, man. It's
the grind never stops.
You know, he's up there in the Northeast. I'm jealous because look, I'm in Texas. It's only 65 degrees today. It's cold. It was 90 like 3 days ago. It's raw. It should not be the middle of November. It'd be 90 degrees. But you know, up in the Northeast, it's chilly.
We got snow.
I hate you.
It's great.
I hate you. You're horrible. You make me so sad.
It's a beautiful 40 degrees with snow. It's wonderful to be here.
When I was living up there, we had like 4 feet of snow before Halloween one year, and it was great. No one hung around. We all got sick at the same time and ended up running into each other on the ski hill, and made a great deal of I'm so sick. But I'm jealous. We do not have that. We have sun. We did get some rain, some wind,
Those are other weather phenomenons.
Yeah.
That I mean, I enjoy a good storm every now and then. You know, I think I will say wind I can do without really heavy wind. I was just traveling up in Ohio, and the one thing about Ohio is it's very flat.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's so flat, and there's so much wind, and it's just bitingly cold, and I was miserable the entire time I had to deal with that. But ladies and gentlemen, we're into our ace match, so they don't have to worry about wind, snow, sun, or whatever, because they're on Tokamak here.
They are. A nuclear reactor, and in the upper right, he's got a bunch. I'm sorry, that's backwards. There we go. In the upper right, in the blue, one map away for securing the entire season for his team. It's Monkey Business, or Mankey, or Minky, or whatever you want to say.
And in the bottom left, in the red here, playing for Michigan RTS, he is your Protoss player, Xingming.
With the Protoss Falcon, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Did we come to determination when we were looking earlier?
It's giving Falcon, I think. It's more Falcon than Pigeon, with the curve of that beak there, and like the shape of the feathers, I'd say.
What about a pheasant?
No, pheasants are no. They got the pheasants are a little uglier. No offense to pheasants. If you're a pheasant fan, I appreciate that. They make funny sounds. They taste good. Great bird, but they are not as pretty as other birds.
I mean, they're tail feathers. They're not a peacock, but the tail feathers going behind. Pheasants are pretty birds, man.
That's true. I guess just talking about the head of the bird. In terms of the tail feathers, they got great plumage. Very, very good, very high quality bird. But in terms of like striking features, I would say falcons are probably, they got the sharp features. They got it going on.
How far have we fallen there? We're sitting here. Yes, Grand Finals, StarCraft 2. Let's talk about pheasants. How good is pheasant down? Does it keep your coat warm?
That's a good question. I haven't tried that before.
You're not down with the pheasants.
I'm not
This
down
is all
with
that
the
I'm hearing.
pheasants. Yeah. But I think Xingming here is going to be down to probably play macro again, considering how well that worked out for him in the series that he did play. We saw, again, that was a all in there from 9K playing Terran, and Xingming responded, a perfectly normal macro build, responded extremely well, and just kind of handled it, made it look like it was easy. And so I think he's going to head into this probably pretty confident. We'll see as well how for Monkey Business here, he's, again, random player, plays random. How good is your macro PVZ?
Yeah, because that is the question, right? It's like, I, as a macro Zerg player myself, with like a 38% win rate in this matchup, macro ZVP is always a problem. Because it is, first of all, there are so many times you got to pay attention to. Is it when did the warp gate start spinning up? Oh, I'm going to be Stargated or not, what time does the third base go down? How many gases are, like, there's a lot of reads you got to make, and any single one being wrong means you just lose the game. On top of that, it does feel like your macro has to be a little bit crisper than others, because the timings that a Protoss player had, like the storm timing, if you're trying to go break him before that, the minute the storm hits, you're kind of screwed. You go there just so, it can become so difficult if you're slightly off to, like, compared to your opponent. It can be so difficult to play. So we're going to have to see what Monkey Business is going to be able to do against this first Void Ray. We saw this earlier on. Well, actually not from Xingming, but from Fish in game number 1, where you get this Void Ray across. You find a couple Overlords, and this is already a nice bounty beat. He's not going to go for the second one. He's going to find this one over the right-hand side instead. Look, Firebird, taking out 2 Overlords at the very beginning of this game, supply blocking Monkey Business. That's exactly what you're trying to find with these Void Rays.
Yeah, he's even going to get a third here. Monkey Business thinks that he can go in and get the scout off, and surprise, surprise, there's actually a 2 Void Ray opening. Going into 3 Void Rays, though, is a little peculiar here for Xingming.
That it is, as a couple Lings will go down. They do get 2 probes, delay the third base just a little bit. Yeah, this third Void Ray, oh, is this Flux Veins?
I have not seen Flux Veins in so long. I would be quite excited if that is. I mean, 3 Void Rays here. Again, it's a little, you don't usually see this. The Fleet Beacon being so early. It could be a lot of things. You could be seeing, I mean, again, Protoss has so many ways to transition into Air Protoss late game here in this matchup. So it could be Flux Veins. He could be going into a quick carrier if he wants. He could be going, we've seen players, I mean, Tempests I think are usually saved for like a PvT matchup. It's a Mothership?
Oh, this is sick. Now, for now, the third base is going to get canceled. That is a lot of Lings. Well, actually, with 3 Adepts here, do they have enough damage to go prevent this kill from going on? He's holding on to it for quite a while. Lings continue to get low. He's going to stick right on it here. He's going to spot at the very end.
He's got to cancel.
Cancels it very last second there. That forces all the Lings to go down, but it's now just about 6 minutes, and this is a third base that's just going to have to get restarted once again as the fourth base now going down for Monkey Business, but +1 flyer attack, Mothership on the way. You got to get this. You got to figure out this is happening. It requires a very specific response. And oh, by the way, this fourth base that we talked about that's getting spun up because of canceled. Yeah, no, it's got to get canceled itself. So that's also a little bit problematic for our Zerg player.
Yeah, I mean, Xingming, this is such an interesting build here coming out from him. I love to see this. And I said this requires a very particular response. Just having, you know, a Spore Crawler and a few Queens in your main base or something is not going to be enough to really stop this from happening when that recall comes in.
No, not really. Although, really, it's all about having the ground army. Right? You're not going to stop the recall from happening. Not really, but you have to identify that this is an army that you need this mixed force. You need a lot of Roaches, you need some Lings, maybe some Hydras, whatever it is. And property, oh no, it's going to get canceled once again. That doesn't feel good. Now, luckily, Monkey Business, he's got another expand on the right side. So this is not as problematic as it was, especially considering that he got this cancel on his opponent's third. But we are 7 minutes in. He's only on 61 drones. You know, he's moving on. He's developing his tech a little bit. We got the infestation pit just about done. But his economy is not where it needs to be to fight this Protoss war machine as this game continues.
I don't know if Monkey Business's Lings saw the Mothership. I wasn't able to toggle the vision fast enough. He had a little Ling run by, went up to the natural base wall there where the Mothership was just hanging out. I don't know if he saw it. He's going to a lair, immediately drops a Spire as well. He might have scouted it out. I don't know if the Spire is going to be the correct call here, though. As you said, it is a Mothership. There's going to be these Void Rays, but the power here is going to be the fact that Xingming will also have a very strong +2 attack ground force here alongside, as this base is also going to go down for Monkey Business. And these Void Rays are paying dividends.
Yeah, this is really all about the creep spread. It's not connected between the third base and the fourth base. The Queens have been having to fight so much, the Monkey Business just really hasn't had the time. So he's not able to keep this economy developed in the way that he would really like to. So situation now, fourth base getting started for Xingming. We see these Stalkers. That's a nice scout about what's happening, but still, I don't think he's seen this Void Ray. Or I don't think he's seen this Mothership. So this is going to be a lot of Lings moving on top of this base. You're not going to fight that. Are you kidding? There's a shield battery there. There's not enough surface area. This attempt to go snipe the third base with a bunch of +0 Lings, that's not a thing, Tiger.
No, it's really not. They're going to try and knock down the rocks here to give some more angles for later in the game, but it's a tough position for the Zerg player. I mean, you're going to get Corruptors here, but I mean, it kind of feels bad to go Corruptors just for the 3 Void Rays in the Mothership. Sure, you'll eventually be able to, you know, hit the Mothership a little bit, but it backs up. You have Stalkers. Again, it's a powerful ground force that Xingming is building up here, and I just don't see how these 17 Roaches and 18 Lings are really going to be able to match, you know, +2 charge lots with Blink Stalkers, Storms. Like, that ground force is going to get absolutely rolled over, as we do have some Changelings here that are going to come in, and they will finally scout out, yeah, strong ground force, High Templar, and Mothership all online here for Xingming.
And this is where we were talking about this when the game gets started, where this kind of macro game of the ZVP can get really complicated for the Zerg player. It's like, okay, how much do I commit to economy? How much do I commit to army? Is it worth going through that cancel? Where do I want to cut corners? Where do I want to greed out? What tech do I need? And that's something that Xingming has done a great job of keeping secret. Like, these 3 Void Rays have canceled 3 bases. They've killed another. And it is nice that Monkey Business got the 3rd base, but in the balance of things, this economy for Monkey Business is really just scaled too slowly. He was on 61 workers at 7 minutes. He's now on 73. But we're just looking at like this tech is disgusting. We got Tempest on the way, double Robo, Immortals getting built out, and Monkey Business, he's thinking about Ultras. He's thinking about he's thinking about the new Microbial Shroud, which has a new icon, by the way, as well, which is pretty nice. Any range attacks, 50% less damage. Doesn't really help you from the storms, but it is a decent solution for this Protoss army that's getting built.
Yeah, it will definitely help out. The Ultras, I do like to see the Ultras here, but Immortals are already on the way here for Xingming, so it feels like he's just building, this ultimate Protoss death ball. Counters everything that you could ever do, and it's this kind of style that's going to put the pressure on the Zerg to be like, hey, how well can you macro these fights? Because you have to be perfect here with your spells, you have to place them well, you have to get a good engage as well. It's going to be very difficult here for Monkey Business because you really have to find that perfect engage here into this army because there's just so many tools on the side of the Protoss.
I mean, again, we're going to talk about my Zerg trauma for a second. He's like, these are the Protoss players I hate to play against. Just like, look, I have 7 cannons outside of my 4th base. Oh, he could have sniped that High Templar. That would have been really nice. But I got 7 cannons. You're trying to throw some supply away to get better supply, but you're trying to find value with it. That's not going to happen. It's a big attack in the 3rd base. Also, not going to find anything whatsoever. Trying to get on top of these Stalkers, but gonna get like 1 or 2. Actually, it's gonna get a lot more than that. Adrenal is done. So these links are still a little feisty, even with just the +1. But now you blink back into shield battery, and it's gonna be fine. Monkey Business is maxed out. He does have Microbial done. He's got a lot of upgrades completing. Is this gonna let him find the value that he's looking for, Titan? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it's really hard to say here. I mean, Lings are continuing to actually trade pretty decently now that these shield batteries are out of energy, and Xingming wasn't really microing, so you're trading off these Lings for Stalkers, and that's always going to be very worthwhile here. Is you're just getting pressure, you're killing Stalkers, you're killing charge lots. Always a positive trade there, and that means that you can also replace that supply with more Infestors. Again, get more of these Spellcaster that you're going to be trying to use to counter this Death Ball here from Xingming, and also a few Vipers on the way, which I think will be pretty helpful here, especially when you have these Tempests and Carriers that are now added into the mix to try and pick off some of these high-tech air units.
Well, that's a decent run by left side. They're going to find themselves some Zealots. The Ultras are never going to die to Zealots. That's just kind of how that works. So that's kind of fun. As you continue to put pressure on this 3rd base, continue to force Xingming to commit to that a little bit. Those are Corruptors right side. They could go and prevent this 5th base from happening, but you're also throwing an Ultra away. I like it, trying to with a bunch of Lings to try to just take down some of the gateway units, but throwing it away versus a bunch of Immortals that's an expensive unit, man. In this game this late game PvZ that really does often hinge on who trades better over the next 30 minutes. Throwing away Ultras for really minimal gain is not putting you in the good column.
No, I mean, it's just such an expensive unit, and when you have Xingming, who's doing such a good job, I think, of maintaining his expensive units, like this force here, these High Templars, Tempest, Carriers, nothing has been lost. He's been doing a great job of just keeping them back, making sure that he's not losing these before he has time to build up his economy even more. And these Corruptors are now going to try and find an angle here, but Storms go down, and the immediate turn there doesn't kill anything, but the feedbacks as well make sure that there's no yoinks there from the Vipers.
I do like this Ultra run by, though, with the Infestors as well, and more importantly, I like Monkey Business backing up a little bit. He's got a bit of run by on the left side as well, where he's killed off a lot of these cannons. So really trying to flex this multitasking, force these awkward trades. And you saw the Storm go down on the Corruptors. This is the new Storm. This is the Storm that does technically more damage if you sit in it, but if you don't, you're gonna be fine. So goes in, forces a Storm out. The key story actually is the feedbacks on the Vipers to prevent any sort of abducts. That was the big deal. Yeah. But now we're looking at +3 ground, +2 in the air. Xingming wants to run onto the other side of the map. He's just got a big army, and he would love to be able to go and that's a good
oh my god,
pair bombs as well, but they're not there. They're really not set up, and this fight is not what Monkey Business needs. He's gonna drop the Microbial Shroud, he's gonna drop all these Fungals, and the Ultras are gonna try to shoot through the ground army, but the Microbial Shroud's not there. And this was just a very very disjointed fight, Titan. If everything had been together, that would have been so good. Parabomb, Ultras beneath, Fungals as well, Microbial Shroud, but it was the ground army and then the air army. And now everything's in production, 3 Ultras, 9 Corruptors, all these upgrades, and nothing really deals with this army that exists right now.
Yeah, and that was exactly what I was gonna say is, if you just had one Viper there, one Parasitic Bomb, just something to follow up on that incredible first Fungal, it would be great. But now here we go, Parasitic Bombs are gonna go down, the Corruptors are diving in, they're gonna try and snipe the mothership, it goes down. As Monkey Business trying to fight this, the carriers are just picking away at these Corruptors, they're tanky, but here come the Stalkers in support, the High Templar beneath. The carriers are falling, but so are the Corruptors. And it looks like this actually might get cleaned up here from Monkey Business. Finally, the Storm goes down, but the Storm is not on target. There's still more Corruptors alive. You're gonna see the Ultras here fall though, and the ground force is actually just too strong for the Protoss, as there's nothing left on the ground for the Zerg. But it comes out evenly. Both players just have to back away, but Xingming is going to get 2 bases here for his trouble, and that's worth it for the Protoss.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a bit of a larva problem that Monkey Business was dealing with. He wipes the air army, that's a big deal, but does not have enough larva to flood Lings into the fight afterwards. He built some Ultras, which are great, but that's the kind of fight you just want to be flooding Lings in. They are good enough right now, +2 with Adrenal, with +1 armor, that you just get a bunch of Lings, you spend your mineral bank on it, you win that fight. And then maybe you can make something happen. But as it stands, it's just a couple Lings here looking for the run by. The wall is good. And, I gotta say, Xingming, that was not a fight that he had to take. In the previous one, and I understand why he went there, but in the previous one, he lost every single High Templar to the Ultras. And that made that fight a lot more complicated. No Storms going down, no feedbacks from all the Spellcasters. And now, he's in this situation, Titan. He's got only 2 Immortals. There is not a lot of good solutions for these Ultras, and it seems like, okay, Monkey Business is gonna back out for now, but losing those bases, not great. He's kind of, I don't hate his position though. He's done a really good job of resetting a lot of the tech that Xingming has.
Yeah, and he has this mixed mineral base here that's also up and mining for free. So even though you lose that bit of your economy, that actually makes up for quite a lot. And the other big thing that we weren't able to pan to is there was a Ling run by at the natural base that actually canceled the +3 air weapons. Because if that +3 air weapons was finished, it would have finished before that fight. And I think that's why Xingming wanted to take that fight. He said, hey, I'm gonna have +3, my area force is so strong here. But with that being canceled, it takes a lot longer for him to chew through the armor of those Corruptors and the Ultralisks. And he still hasn't been able to actually get that upgrade. The Cybernetics Core only just now finished again. Xingming is doing a decent job of trying to stop these Ultra run-bys, but there's 7 Ultralisks out on the map. And, I mean, Monkey Business, as you said, is doing a great job here of just rotating them around. We'll finally get caught, though, and these Ultras going down. I mean, you got some economy back, but you don't have enough for that to really be worth it.
He just lost 8 Ultras. That is... in this game state, where by the way, Monkey Business' mineral economy is fantastic. His gas economy is as well. He's not really hurting, but he doesn't have that big of a bank. So losing 8 Ultras like this, now we've seen the entire army composition. It's been reconfigured. It's an Ultra beating force. It's Archons, it's Immortals, it's a couple Tempests. That really is it. So you need to build a different army here, Monkey Business. You gotta find another opportunity, because Xingming has responded to this army that you used to beat him down earlier on, and life just becomes like this Protoss death ball of High Templar, Immortal, Archon, Tempest. It is a difficult nut to crack.
Yeah, still gonna look for some picks here. Storm, oh my god, Xingming is so good here with the Storms and the immediate feedbacks. Those, I mean, Vipers have to back up. They're all out of energy now, and it's just making sure that Monkey Business doesn't get a chance to abduct any of these high-value units for that instant kill. And you're also going to have the Tempest upgrades here to get some more damage against these ground structures as... oh my god, a good Fungal comes out, though, from the Infestor before it dies. Feedbacks go down all over the Infestors, but the Ultralisks are just running in as now the Air Force comes in. One Parasitic Bomb goes down, another Fungal on top of everything. The new mothership that was just built is also going to go down. And again, Xingming pushing onto Creep just walks. Yeah, I don't know how you recover from this.
No,
it's the Protoss.
The microbial shrouds we talked about, you need that solution to this ground army, these Immortals and these Archons. The microbial shroud did it. They were just able to sit right on top and take 50% damage from the Archons and from these Immortals, and that caused so many issues. Now Fungal on top of these panic stalkers coming in. There's going to be a second one, nowhere to run. Lings are going to get on top of them. And now the scariest thing is these cannons that have a ton of shield batterers behind. And you got to be a little careful. You don't want to throw on the last turtle as the storm is going to go down. But this Immortal is going to take a lot of damage even if it doesn't die. But economies are equal. This is a game where Xingming, he's got to find some way to spend his bank. He's got 2,000 minerals. He's got about 1,000 gas. But he's only on like 2 robos. You know, he's only on 8 gateways. He does not have a good, efficient way to spend the money that he desperately needs to spend.
Yeah, and I think the real issue for Xingming is he really didn't expand past this 5th base. You know, even when he had control of the game, he never took this gold mineral base, never expanded to the bottom right. And so really he's just been stuck on this economy. And now we have slow banelings trying to roll in here to find damage, as Monkey Business does just have enough of a supply lead that he feels perfectly fine just running these units in as he goes into the 5th. And Xingming's army isn't here. Losing this many probes at this point in the game is not really what you want to be doing, as the Fungal is going to go down, but Monkey Business doesn't go in, just elects to get the Nexus and get on out.
Yeah, Alexis to get the Nexus. You know what? It sounded better in my head.
I appreciate the attempt.
No 12 pulls, though. No, not in this game. But yeah, now we're in a situation where Xingming, his 3rd base is just about mined out. In fact, there are no workers mining out it for the time being, but it's only got 4 mineral patches. They all got like no money. The 5th base is dead. Gonna have to get rebuilt. He's trying to go get this mixed mineral base going once again. But yeah, we're just in this situation where Lings are a problem. These actually, the Organon +3 armor, these +2 armor Adrenalings. If the army's ever away from the shield batteries, it is such a big deal. Now the Corruptors are gonna go and try to take down this Nexus. Stalkers do have +3, and that does make these Corruptors not the tankiest things, but even still, that forces the cancel. And Monkey Business, you gotta be careful. You know, sometimes you can go and let your opponent get back into it, but he's just being so efficient right now. Just not really giving Xingming too much of an opportunity to get back into it. There's gonna be another Fungal. Like to see a Microbial Shroud as well, but nice feedbacks, really removing a lot of the power, but even still, there's the Microbial Shroud, and the Immortals, they're just not killing these Ultras in the way that they need to. Well, as they run out of the Microbial Shroud, they actually kind of are, so that's what we're talking about. That's a little scary, as these Infestors, they're all gonna get chased down as well. And Monkey Business, thinking about running into this other base, but Banelings, you want to kill that pylon? There we go. This is not a base that matters all that much anymore, though. Like, the mining's not there. It's nice that you're removing structural damage, but just build an army. Take this army down, you win the game.
I mean, Xingming's just going across the map, actually. He's not even trying to protect this base. He says, listen, I got rid of all the Infestors almost. There's 1 Infestor left, I think. Not even. He actually killed the last Infestor. He says, listen, these Corruptors do not counter my ground army. I just gotta go now. But there's Broodlords that are morphing here on the way for Monkey Business. He did go to that Greater Spire, get to that Tier 3 air tag. And so now these Corruptors, they might not be useful, but those, I mean, there's not really going to be an answer here for Broodlords, as those are going to pop. And so for Xingming, this is it. This is your final push. You don't really have a lot of Storm energy. You don't have enough Stalkers. You have 2 Stalkers, actually, here to try and counter this. I think Monkey Business should be able to make this hold, as he's just gathering his forces together here for one last fight.
We're going to see what he's going to be able to do. Everything's kind of locked away, but all the tech's gone on the side of the Zerg player. It really is this army. He's not going to be able to go and reproduce it easily. And yeah, Xingming just recalls right back on home. He's going to get himself a couple Archons. The Zealots are going to go down as well, but the bulk majority of that army, if we take a look at what's left, 3 Archons, 4 Immortals, some Stalkers, they're still there. And there is just enough gas. It's not a lot of gas income, but just enough that he can keep warping in these +3 Stalkers and maybe make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, there is still a Stargate back home if he wants to build something, but 2 Spires are actually going to go down here. If you're looking at the upgrades there, you have +3 Flyer Carapace, you have +2 Flyer attacks. I'm actually not sure why we're getting 2 Spires here for Monkey Business. Probably 1 to get the upgrade, 1 to get back to that Greater Spire, but he has no opportunity now to build more Broodlords, no opportunity to build more Corruptors, and I think most importantly, Ultra Cavern's also down. It's just Zerglings right now for Monkey Business, so if he can't end the game here or find significant damage...
Yeah, I think he's fine with this one. He's sitting there in the dead airspace. The army's just gotta run, and, you know, Broodlords are bad units. Generally, they don't do a lot of damage. They're slow. They're not all that tanky. They just kind of die. But if in this situation where the Protoss player pretty much has to take the fight perfectly, has to go and get stuck. Oh, this is a little bit scary.
Oh, the Broodlords
get on top. The ground army's not there. But even still, there's going to be the blinding cloud. Stalkers can't fight. They got to run. And this dead airspace sitting on the high ground. There is not a lot that Xingming can do. He's fighting in this one because, hey, this is Michigan's life on the line. He's got to win this game to force another ace match. But they're just going to go try Stalkers blink in once again. The storms are really nice. The lings are starting to go down, but I'm not sure how much it matters. Microbial Shroud keeping all these ultras alive. The Broodlords, 4 of them still here, and this should do it. 129 supply to 47. They're going to warp in another Stalker, a singular one, a couple Zealots, but the money that Xingming has is just not there.
Yeah, now you can just start to flood lings here across the map. There's not really much that you can do. He's going to try and pick off some more Broodlords here, but one fungal growth comes out, and that's going to be these Stalkers getting cleaned up as Monkey Business, late game, 26-minute CVP here, manages to just scrap it out through some of these clutch fights, finding the angles, and I mean, Xingming, he's got to keep fighting here, but I just don't see really what he can do here with this group of Stalkers.
Yeah, this was a pretty fun late game ZVP. All things considered. We can have a lot of them where 2 players, they just kind of sit there. Like, I'm going to build my death ball, and you're going to build your death ball. But this has been a very back and forth one. At the end of the day, Monkey Business took a couple really good fights off that Microbial Shroud timing. And not only already Alexa 12 pool, they technically won the season. You know, they got $567 to live well to their charity, but also they've now secured the grand finals. Got 4 wins in this best of 7.
Yeah, it was, I mean, they played very, very well. 4-1, convincing win the last time, again, these teams played in the regular season. It was 2-2. It was very close, but I think, you know, they edged it out, and you got to say Monkey Business there. Coming in very clutch, actually, in that ZVZ, responding to the 12 pool, just the immediate aggression, managing to eke out the win. And there, we had our concerns about him being a random player going into a late game PVZ, but he handled it very well, all things considered.
That he did. So I'm just checking with him to see if we're going to play the other 2 matches, just, you know, for fun, because at the end of the day, the entire point of the season is to have fun. It's team building, it's networking, it's having a good time. Actually, talk about networking, the amount of people that I run into that we see playing in this, that's like, oh yeah, you know, I was playing for Company X a couple years ago, but now I'm playing for Company Y. I'm still on the team. I'm now on their team, which is always kind of fun as we see everything happening. But it looks like I'm being told that we are in fact done. The one of the teams has to go and head out. So congratulations again to Alexa 12 pool for not only getting the lion's share of the of the charity prize pool to live well to their charity of choice, also winning the entire thing 4-1 in the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, they played exceptionally well. They're going to get their split of the prize pool there, $576, heading over to live well. And again, as a reminder, the 2nd and 3rd place prizes also were already settled between the collegiate and non-collegiate teams. So Google Alpha Stars getting $288 to Child's Play, and Amadeus, 3rd place with $96 going to Habitat for Humanity. And at the end of the, as I said, at the end of the day, there's bragging rights, there's winning, but it's also, we're playing games for a good cause to give money to charities that matter.
That we are, but that is also not the end of all the different CEA tournaments that are happening right now. There's a lot of stuff. There are more grand finals that will be happening all over the course of the weekend, and I think Tekken finals, I don't know if there's a broadcast time for that yet, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. But if you watch this and you said, hey, I want to go play, maybe my company's too small, I don't have a team, whatever it is, we're going to have the CEA Winter Games coming up later on this year. They return next month. The corporate-only rules do not apply, so you don't have to be part of Amazon or Google or whatever, or Amadeus, You don't have to be part of any of these companies. You can go play. Anyone can register. Each event is going to be a 1-day thing. It's a 1 big day bracket. On December 13th, we're going to have Teamfight Tactics and Battlefield 6. I'm not sure how Battlefield 6 tournament works, but I guess you got the most kills. We're going to see what the rule set is for that one. Should be a lot of fun. On the 14th, League of Legends is going to happen. On the 13th and 14th, there's going to be your Second Love. in that Rocket League is going to be happening. Wait, actually, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Second love, first love, third love.
You know, it got me started, so it'll always hold a dear place in my heart for Rocket League, and so you can always catch me hanging out around the scene there.
Yeah. And then on the 20th, the following week, we're going to have 2XKO, a nice tag team fighting game that's now in, I think, technically open beta from Riot, but that's going to be happening. There's going to be a turn for that one. StarCraft 2 is going to be back, which is going to be a lot of fun. That is always exciting. And then rounding it out on December 21st, there's going to be a big Dota 2 tournament as well. Of course, if you want to figure out more about this, how you can sign up, what the rule sets are, who's going to be playing, how exactly you win a Battlefield 6 tournament, they're going to be announced really soon. So go check out the CEA Discord or at cea.gg/Discord. Grab your friends and get ready to go have some awesome fun. There's a winter season.
Yeah, it's a lot to look forward to, and hopefully we'll see you all there playing and competing. Again, don't have to be part of a corporation. Anyone can play, and it's going to be a ton of fun there. One day / one weekend, all the games getting done. But that is going to wrap it up for us here. Again, congratulations to Alexa12 Pool and Amazon there for getting first place, getting that first place prize money as well, going to live well there with their 4-1 victory over the University of Michigan.
And a big shout as well to Luna, Amazon Luna, for being our title sponsor on this one, for making sure all of this happens.
Oh, you're still muted, Bayo. You're still muted. Oh no. Should we tell Bayo that he's still muted, guys, or we're gonna let him keep talking? I'm gonna let him keep talking. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.